What's up, everybody? I am your host, the protector of a fancy wine bottle filled with magic blood, and that is my co-host, a smooth-talking demon dead set on bringing forth the apocalypse. And welcome to the Grindhouse Syndicate, where, now that the holidays are finally over, we can get back to normal and charge forward into the dumpster fire that is already 2026. And for our first deep dive of the new year, we are talking about a fun, special effects-filled cult classic, Ernest Dickerson's Demon Knight from 1995. You were a whole 1 year old when this came out.
Yep.
Just a baby.
Double fisting bottles.
So I gotta say, man, I have always loved this movie. It's been about 6-7 years since I've watched it, and the magic is still there for me. I still really enjoy it.
Yeah, this is a fun one, man. It's been a long time. This is one I feel like used to be to catch on TV.
That's, yeah, 100%.
That's primarily where I've seen it. I feel like I've seen Bordello Blood more. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just something that just by chance I caught.
I'm the opposite. I've seen this one way more than Bordello Blood. I actually told you earlier, this was the first time I watched it on a physical copy. I've always caught it on TV or I think the last time I probably watched it was like streaming, but still, I finally got the Scream Factory version, and that was the first time like I got to kind of sit and watch like my own copy of the movie. But the reason this movie is so special to me, this was another one of those summer break, late night channel surfing TV finds. I just kind of fell in love with it. I remember the first time I seen it, and it got me thinking, like, I feel bad for the new generation because they don't have the experience of discovering these awesome hidden gems on late night TV like we did.
Yeah. I've never really thought about that. They do have streaming. I mean,
They got that,
I have access to a lot more, but I guess unless they have the autoplay on,
yeah, that's
they're
what I'm
not going
saying.
to get the random, like, never plan to watch this, but sit down and find a banger on TV.
Yeah. I was probably like 8 years old when I first seen this. I don't even remember connecting it to Tales from the Crypt back then. And I'm pretty sure the reason why is because I missed the beginning. Like, I didn't see the little Crypt Keeper intro thing that they have. I don't remember when I jumped into it, but it was probably like 15 minutes in, if I remember correctly. But this was one of the movies that it stuck in my mind for like a long time, but I didn't know the name of the movie. And then years later, we got the internet, and it was like one of the movies I remember searching, like describing a scene to get the title of the movie.
Yeah. This one, if you miss the Crypt Keeper part, or you see a version that doesn't have the intros and outros,
Yeah,
you can. It still has that Tales from the Crypt feel.
it does. It does.
It does a very similar thing that Creepshow did with the use of bright colors and capturing that comic book feel.
I agree. Definitely agree. Another thing I told you earlier was this was the first time I actually seen the Crypt Keeper intro and outro.
Yeah.
And I did find out my research that was for the theatrical version, which they did not syndicate on TV.
Yeah, that makes sense because I don't ever remember seeing an intro or outro. And I remember thinking, like, hey, it was stupid. Like, that, even that young, like, why would you call it Tales from the Crypt if it's not connected to Tales from the Crypt in any way?
Yeah, definitely. And another thing I was like, when I was writing this episode, it kind of clicked, like, this is like a crossover between our Tales from the Script episodes and our deep dive episodes.
Yeah.
It's like the only time just about that this could overlap. So, yeah. Also, thank you to the listeners who sent in their top 10 or, top 13. I totally enjoy talking about the movies with you guys and seeing the crossovers between like ours and your lists. I know the responses were kind of sporadic, but work has been very chaotic. Shout out to all the other Black Phone 2 lovers. I found out that the club isn't as small as we thought it was. And if you haven't seen that movie yet, highly recommend you check it out because a deep dive episode is coming up very, very soon. So, with that being said, are you ready to dive into Demon Knight?
I'm ready.
All right.
Hello, boys and ghouls. If you want to stay up to date on what's going on with the show, talk about or submit your movie requests, or just say die, then I got good news for you. You can always find us at one of our social media accounts or our official website at Grindhouse.Horror.Pod.com, Facecrook at the Grindhouse Syndicate Horror Podcast, Instascam at grindhousesyndicate.horror.pod, and many gore, which you can always find links for in the show notes as always. And you know what I always say, the morgue, the merrier. So please subscribe or follow for alerts on new episodes. Now, back to the show, kiddies. Frights, camera, action.
And if you really love us and don't want us to bring Jada Pinkett Smith on as a third host, give us a review. That probably wouldn't go very well.
Would totally do a smack, but I'm sure it'd get cut out.
Oh, yeah. So Demon Knight is a 1995 American horror comedy film directed by Ernest Dickerson and written by Mark Bishop, Ethan Reif, and Cyrus Vorse. It stars Billy Zane, William Sadler, Jada Pinkett Smith, CCH Pounder, and Dick Miller. The story follows an ex-soldier turned guardian of a religious artifact who attempts to hide out with a bunch of small-town locals when a powerful demon disguised as a man called the Collector traps the group in an old church and attempts to gain possession of the artifact in order to bring forth the apocalypse. It was produced by Gilbert Adler and Crypt Keeper Productions in association with Universal Pictures. It had a budget of $12 million and a box office of $21.1 million. Demon Knight was supposed to be the first of 3 planned movies from HBO's hit horror series Tales from the Crypt. But soon after this movie's release, the other 2 films were canceled. Despite the fact that this film received mostly mixed reviews from critics and audiences, it was followed by a second standalone Tales from the Crypt film called Bordello of Blood in 1996. So out of curiosity, Demon Knight or Bordello of Blood?
Demon Knight.
Demon Knight by far. Yeah. I've only seen Bordello of Blood one time.
It's been a long time since I've seen Bordello of Blood.
Same.
But I don't remember it being a great movie.
It doesn't hit nowhere near like this one.
Yeah. Maybe I'd feel different on a deep dive, but I definitely don't remember it being great.
Yeah, I agree. So a really interesting thing I just found out while researching this movie is it wasn't originally written as a Tales from the Crypt story. This was totally its own thing that got tossed around Hollywood for years. That's kind of crazy because it has such a Tales from the Crypt vibe to it, man.
See, I kind of feel that though. Like I watching it because I found that out after watching the movie, and it makes sense because a lot of Tales from the Crypt episodes are like karma episodes. It's always somebody getting like their ultimate karma.
Yeah, and they all came from the comic book as well.
Not a lot of hero arcs in the show, and I know that they altered the script a lot to get it into a Tales from the Crypt, and it does feel like a Tales from the Crypt for sure. But the overall basis of the story, definitely a little different. I actually think that they may have altered and added a character or 2 specifically to make it more like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah. Another thing I was really happy to see was William Sadler, kind of the star role in this, because if you've listened to our show a lot, you will know that the very first Tales from the Crypt episode we did was the very first Tales from the Crypt episode we did, which is The Man That Was Death.
Yep.
And, of course, that was William Sadler. He was
Yeah.
the executioner.
He's good, man.
He's
He's
good
a
at
great
everything,
lead.
dude. He's awesome. So the original script was written in 1987 by friends and business partners Mark Bishop, Ethan Riff, and Cyrus Forrest. And it was set to be Tom Holland's follow-up to his massively successful killer doll film Child's Play, which is kind of crazy considering the Crypt Keeper's connection to the first animatronic Chucky doll, which was built for Child's Play. So, like, that's a crazy connection to me.
I have the Crypt Keeper's eyes.
Just
man.
one of my favorite horror facts ever. I don't know why. Still super interesting to me. Unfortunately for him, though, for some unknown reason, he decided to bail on this movie in order to direct Fatal Beauty, which, as many of you probably know, was a huge box office bomb. So he dropped the ball, I would say, on that.
The Crypt Keeper would have liked that little joke in there.
Yep. So after that, it then landed in the hands of Pumpkinhead screenwriter Mark man, I'm going to mess his name up, Carducci, who ended up keeping it for several years before eventually giving it to his friend and Pet Sematary director, Mary Lambert, who was pretty interested in doing the film. Definitely like Mary Lambert. She did an awesome job on Pet Sematary. I remember we talked a lot about her in our Pet Sematary episode, and she really kind of had a passion for doing horror really good. Despite her eagerness to get the project up and running, it was just not meant to be, as her next film, Pet Sematary 2, bombed hard at the box office, leaving her unable to get anyone to invest in this project.
That sucks.
It does suck. And
I
I
don't think-
like
I
Pet Sematary too.
Yeah, I don't think it's as good as the first one,
No.
but it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. After eventually losing hope and giving up on the film, it was then passed to Charles Band's Full Moon Features, where it would again be held up by lack of funds or investors. And finally, it is at this point where it makes its way to Joel Silver's desk, who, of course, was one of the producers of HBO's Tales from the Crypt. Now, at the time, Silver was attempting to put together a trilogy of sorts under the Tales from the Crypt banner. And at one point, the 3 films were going to be Demon Night, Bordello Blood, and From Dusk Till Dawn. But this idea fell apart after negotiations collapsed with Quentin Tarantino. I honestly think Demon Night and From Dusk Till Dawn would make a fantastic double feature.
Yeah, I thought it was fucking crazy how close From Dusk Till Dawn was to being a Tales from the Crypt story.
Yeah, and they man, because, they're both like siege movies, like the survivors are held up in a building, the bad things are trying to get in. From Dusk Till Dawn is another one of those, summer break, 3 o'clock in the morning TV catches for me as well. I just think that's like a really good double feature. If you're going to go and watch like 2 movies in a theater that are similar, that's a good choice.
I just wonder how much different that movie would have been. Like, because, like they did with this script, they went in and they completely changed a bunch of stuff to make it more Tales from the Crypt and more horror and more like,
Yeah, I don't know.
just darker, the dark Tales from the Crypt vibe.
Well, I feel like From Dusk Till Dawn kind of has a little bit of that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think they would have changed some things though. It
probably.
would have came out, I think, quite a different movie than what it did.
So after all that, they settled on Demon Night, Dead Easy, and Body Count as the 3 films, with Universal Studios believing Demon Night had the most potential, quickly rushing it into production with a planned release of Halloween 1994. That was actually the idea behind this whole trilogy thing, to basically release a Tales from the Crypt movie on every Halloween for 3 years. That would have been cool. That's a cool idea. So considering this project still didn't have a ton of money behind it, another version of the script was written with no actual demons on screen. Instead, the collector would be a Bible salesman who was using a legion of fellow salesmen dressed in black suits and sunglasses, which would later be revealed to be demons. But thankfully, Universal Studios thought that a movie titled Demon Knight that had no demons in it would be pretty stupid. So they pitched in more money for special effects and demon costume/makeup. And that decision 100% saved this movie, in my opinion. I don't think we'd be talking about this right now if they would have did a non-demon version of this.
No, that's I think it's hilarious. The Bible salesman concept. They could have kept that part.
They could have kept. I would have
morph
that.
into demons.
Yeah, but instead of
it would have pissed off a lot of the Karens out there.
Yeah, but it would have been kind of. It almost reminds me of the Matrix, where I don't remember which Matrix it is, but he's fighting off 100 Mr. Smiths. That's just what I imagine.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine here. And speaking of special effects, which were considered to be pretty impressive at the time, especially considering the budget they had to work with, were done by Todd Masters and his crew, who is known for Slither, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Child, Night of the Creeps, and more recently, Final Destination Bloodline. This dude has actually worked on a ton of shit. And he is actually the one that convinced Universal, we got to have demons.
Yeah, he had some titles under his belt to be able to convince the higher-ups to chip in more money.
So these effects were predominantly practical with a few small touch-ups with CGI, and they mostly pulled this off by blending intricate makeup, body appliances, and clever engineering for hidden battery packs used for glowing eyes and stuff, which is so fucking cool in this movie.
It is really cool. I do really like the glowing eyes and stuff. It gives it that comic book feel.
I love the green blood, the glowing eyes, the neon red. It makes this fucking movie, man.
I do think that in some of the practical effects they added a little bit too much, trying to get the colors out of it. But this was also CGI fucking this was the beginning.
Yeah,
they were we can do what?
Well, I'm really happy that they decided to go the practical route with most of it, because a lot of this stuff could have, they could have done some of it. They could have did glowing eyes with CGI, and I would have hated it. Just would have hated it. So once all of the budget stuff was finally settled, the producers then brought in famed cinematographer and lifelong horror movie fan Ernest Dickerson to direct, who's mostly known for his work with Spike Lee, but has also worked on the first 2 seasons of Tales from the Dark Side, Dexter, and The Walking Dead. This dude has worked on a ton of good stuff, dude. You have 100% seen his work all over the place. I started looking at his IMDb page and everything he's worked on. Man, it's tons of stuff. I just kind of included a couple, but yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they got really, really, really good special effects artists and really good actors, and that was one thing that was synonymous with the show, is getting A-list stars in almost every episode, how wild that is. And I think that really shows in this movie. The fucking cast
is good, yeah.
And the crew.
Billy.
With all the fucking huge, special effects people who were big at the time or would go on to do, massive things. It's definitely a testament.
Billy Zane kills it in this movie. And he says, this was my favorite movie to be in. So to this day, he was that is the most fun I had. And I wish I could do it again. Yeah. He kills it in this movie. He adds, he's the cherry on top in this movie.
Was he the collector?
Yeah, the collector.
Yeah. Yeah, he was actually in Scream Factory's making of.
Yeah.
And he seemed like he was one of the people that was most excited to come back.
Yeah,
And
he
for
loved it.
the amount of shit that he's been in, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's how much he loved this movie.
Well, a year later, he was in fucking Titanic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as filming got ready to start, they started looking at sets when they discovered an abandoned airport hangar in Van Nuys, California, which allowed them to build the entire soundstage and set under one roof and giving them the advantage of shooting in the day despite the movie taking place at night. So, because of the rush to production, last-minute special effects additions, and budget issues, the film missed its targeted Halloween release date, releasing on January 13th of 1995 to mixed reviews, which, we've mentioned this many times before. What studios used to do a lot back then is when they didn't think a film was going to do well, they would release it in January or February, which is when the movie theaters were the slowest of the year. This was considered kind of like a death blow immediately to a new movie to be released in January or February.
Yeah, I think that they should have held this until
Halloween,
October of 95.
I agreed.
I mean, 9 months, hold it for 9 months. I think it would have made way more money in October than a January release.
Definitely. After this lukewarm reception at the box office, both original planned follow-up films were canceled, being replaced by Bordello of Blood, which is loosely connected to this film, coming out just a year later in 1996. It was then released on VHS in 1996 and DVD in 2003, being packaged as a double feature with Bordello of Blood. Then, in October of 2015, it was released on Blu-ray by Scream Factory, which retained the post-credit scenes, unlike the other home media releases and the television broadcasts. So, quite a history. All right, so the ratings for this thing: Rotten Tom, 45%. I am surprised it's that high.
Yeah, you should see Bordello of Bloods.
Is it high or low?
It may be the worst. What's our record? What's the record?
19.
19.
Yeah. I
think it was a little lower.
I gotta
see. I think House of a Thousand Corpses was like a 28, and we got one or two that was lower than that. Bordello of Blood's 15. It's a 15%.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes, Rotten Tom, shit on Bordello of Blood for sure.
Trying to find. Oh, it's 14. Did it go down 1%?
It's changed since I looked it up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this has got almost a 50%. IMDb gave it a 6.7 out of 10. Letterboxd, no surprise, 3.4 out of 5. There is no Google average audience rating. If you would like to watch this movie, you can currently find it if you have a subscription to Starz or for rent on Apple TV and Google Play for $3.99. I also checked, and Starz has a 7-day free trial, if you want to watch this movie and then cancel that shit. It's on there.
I would say that if you're a fan of this movie, just go get the Scream Factory Blu-ray of it.
100% worth it.
It's cheap. I mean, it's like $13 on Amazon, and don't quote me on that. I know it's in that area because I've had it in my fucking cart forever. I thought I already had it. And, yeah, it's got a ton of special features on there.
Yep.
I didn't even get to them all.
So, are you ready to jump into the plot?
I am.
All right, let's do it. So, just like the show, we kick this thing off with a Crypt Keeper intro where we immediately meet an attractive young woman wearing only underwear covered in blood. We also see that she is on the phone with her secret lover, and this is where we find out that she just murdered her rich husband. And right before she ends the call, we see that she has placed the body in a metal tub filled with acid. After that, we then cut to her taking a bubble bath when suddenly the half-melted, bloody body of her husband climbs out of the tub in the basement and begins to head upstairs. The effects on this guy look really good.
Yeah. Did you see when he bumped the wall? And, part of his, melting flesh, gets stuck on the wall and comes off of his body?
Yeah, well,
awesome.
One of my favorite shots is, right before that where he, he grabs the handrail, and then when he lifts his handrail, 3 fingers stay behind.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
I was actually kind of bummed that they showed,
when he turned around?
Yeah, when they show it it's the Crypt Keeper, filming, and I was like, damn, man, you should have just hid that part because it looked so good.
There's so many things in this movie that remind me of Creepshow, and this is one of them.
That was literally my first thought when I seen this was, because I'd never seen the Crypt Keeper intro on this
neither.
movie, and I was very confused when it started because I was like, "Wait a minute, I don't remember this movie being connected to this at all." And I also was confused because you had told me there was a Crypt Keeper intro, and I was like,
Yeah.
"This is jumping straight into the movie." And yeah, but my third thought was very Creepshow.
Very
Like,
Creepshow.
Creepshow had really awesome fucking effects. It had those effects, and one thing Creepshow did that this movie does with some of the lighting and a lot of the CGI that they did add was the bright colors on the really dark atmosphere, the color palette, and that is one thing you can get away with this movie is having, like, those over-the-top special effects and bright colors.
Yeah, that's another really good double feature. It'd be Creepshow and Demon Knight for sure. So anyway, we see this slimy, bloody dude walking like a zombie through the house holding a hatchet when he suddenly enters the bathroom preparing to kill her. She then looks up and screams right as he is about to drop the blade on her head, and this is when it is revealed to just be a movie set as we quickly see the Crypt Keeper yell cut from the director's chair. So, did the Crypt Keeper look a little funny to you?
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily his design, but like him in the background don't quite mesh very well.
Well, yeah, they so for one, they had the Crypt Keeper walking, which it was
Yeah.
a major mistake
Mhm.
because it looks funny because you have to have somebody walking, and they also I noticed that part CGI'd some of the face movement and stuff, unlike the
The puppet, yeah.
original puppet.
Yeah, so here's the reason for that. In order to pull this off, they had to attach a Crypt Keeper puppet head on the face of a real actor who was, he had like from the neck down, that's a real actor. And he was wearing a green, like, pullover mask, right? So they basically green screened the actor's head. And that's why the Crypt Keeper's head, like, his head in the background, they look weird. And it's because there's, like, a guy wearing a green screen mask directly behind his head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they botched this for sure. We didn't need that, like,
Him walking? No.
yeah, you could have left him walking out, and it wouldn't have hurt anything. They had access to all the original Crypt Keeper puppets. Yeah, I just think that was a mistake, but there is in the credits, Crypt Keeper body double, and I almost looked the guy's name up to see if he ever did anything
Yeah.
else.
If you look close, you can see the green mask, like, reflecting off of his white collared shirt.
Yeah, that's not good.
So after the Crypt Keeper finishes yelling at the crew, he informs us that Tales from the Crypt is going Hollywood and he is dying to show us what he has been working on. After a brief introduction, he starts the countdown and yells, "Frights, camera, action." And we kick off the movie. We then cut to an old muscle car speeding down a dark road to the sounds of "Hey Man, Nice Shot" by Filter, which is like such a fantastic song. And that guitar riff that like
Dude,
starts
that bass riff,
God,
man.
dude, it's
The fucking bass riff back
so
there.
nostalgic too.
And they time it so well with after the crash that we're about to get to, and that fucking bass riff starts in the background. It's like they cut the music out during like the crash, and then it just slowly starts coming back in.
I don't know if you could have a more perfect song for the beginning of this movie. Like, it just fits together really well. Funny thing about this movie too, the soundtrack was extremely successful. It hit like 150 on the top selling CDs of that year.
Dude, it's got a good soundtrack.
It's got fucking Pantera, Machine Head, Megadeth, the fucking Melvins.
Yeah.
So many great like 80s, 90s bands.
It's crazy that they had the Melvins.
I know.
Like,
wild.
Somebody must have been from the Seattle area to, like, I had to like double take that. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, fantastic soundtrack. So anyway, this is where we meet our main character, Breaker, who seems to be in a bit of trouble here as he nervously notices a car chasing him. And as we cut to the inside of this other car, we meet our bad guy of this movie, a demon disguised as a man called the Collector. And basically, for some context here, Breaker has this important religious artifact that he is attempting to keep away from the collector, and they had kind of like a brief encounter in another town earlier that day, and now Breaker is attempting to get far enough away from this dude to kind of catch a little breather. But as we see here, the collector is like right on his tail. So Breaker's car then starts breaking down, which is a coincidence, making him realize that he has to do something drastic fast, prompting him to slide the car sideways in the middle of the road, pull out his gun, and fire a couple rounds into the other car, which soon catches fire. This isn't going to stop this demon, though, as he continues driving at high speeds directly at Breaker. He then realizes that this is about to be really bad, forcing him to jump out of the car last minute right before both cars explode into a huge fireball. Which you guys know me, love a good car chase and an explosion.
Yeah, my first thought here was, damn, they jumped into that budget real quick.
Yeah.
They were
Man,
like, we haven't been able to like blow a car up like this in the show.
I feel like Hollywood's lacking on the fucking car chase crashes and explosions nowadays, man. It's like it stopped in the 90s.
I'm not a big car chase fan.
Man,
I'm not a big action movie fan, which I think is probably pretty rare. Like a lot of people, especially our generation up, like really, really like action movies, and I'm not as big into the action. And the car chases, I feel like we're just used so much in the 80s and 90s.
Bring him back. So after that, Breaker then stumbles away from the wreckage when he suddenly stops, pulls off his glove, and looks at his hand. And this is our first sign that there is definitely something supernatural going on here. As we then see these like star tattoos on his palm, they light up and they actually move around on his skin. They basically just like rearrange themselves.
And moving tattoos.
That would be the future.
That is the future of tattooing.
Yep. So we then cut to a small town in New Mexico called Wormwood, where we see a still panicked Breaker run over to this car parked at a cafe and attempt to steal it. But this idea is quickly ruined when he is caught by a 10-year-old kid named Danny, whose father owns the car. Breaker then runs off where he soon meets another local named Uncle Willie, who is basically the town drunk. Realizing that he isn't going to have access to a car anytime soon, he asks Willie if there's a place to stay nearby, and Willie tells him, yeah, there sure is, and offers to take him to the boarding house where he also lives.
You know, I was like, he offers this kid a shiny new quarter. And I was
It's
like
1930.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck? And I put that in my notes. I said, this would have worked great in 1920. And then,
Yep.
like, just when we started this episode, it clicked that it makes sense because of his age. Like,
I didn't think about that. I
Yeah.
thought you were going to say not long after this scene, he pulls out like a wad of hundreds.
No, but a quarter would have been a lot to him as a kid.
Bro, you couldn't just give him 100.
He was a kid in the 20s. So, you know, like a shiny new quarter was
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
you could buy a lot with the shiny new quarter.
Yeah, because we find out he actually becomes this like protector guy or like 1917.
Yeah.
So after that, we then cut back to the scene of the crash where we see that the local sheriff and his deputy have arrived, and they're pretty shocked when they see the collector, who is completely uninjured, walk out of this flaming wreckage of twisted metal. The cops try to ask the mysterious man how he survived the crash, but he quickly changes the subject and asks if they saw the other man from the other car that he was chasing. The confused officers tell him no, they haven't seen anybody else, but the collector soon cuts them off and tells them that the man that he is chasing is very dangerous, and if he is here in their town, something for sure bad is going to happen. We then cut back to Breaker and Willie as they're walking up to the boarding house, and this place looks super creepy and super awesome. We also see a cool-ass lightning storm going on behind it, and it's at this point where Willie tells his new pal that this place used to be a big church, but was closed down in the 50s because of lack of interest. This building is like, I don't know what it is with this building, but it doesn't necessarily look like a church, but it is creepy as hell.
It is, it definitely doesn't look like a church at all. Doesn't really look like a building.
It reminds me of like a little bit of the house from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 2003. It's like very blocky, very large. It's like the same color. It has almost like that same it's almost like a concrete. It's almost like stucco or something on the outside.
Yeah, it's definitely like a stucco box, which I think makes sense because this takes place in New Mexico, and there
Oh yeah,
is
good point.
that whole whatever that art style is
It's
very,
like the
very
Spanish.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very popular over
Mhm.
there. But yeah, definitely didn't remind me of a church at all.
No. So, right as they approach the door, Breaker looks at his hand again, where we see the stars of David move once again, but this time they were arranged in a circle, which we don't know what yet, but Breaker knows that this actually means something really important. So, this is where we meet a few more of our main characters. First, we have Irene, who owns and runs this place, and we quickly learn that she runs a very type ship and speaks her mind. Then we have Cordelia, which, I'm not really sure if she actually works at this place or just lives here or both. I don't know.
She works, but
She
not
ki-
for this place.
That's
at
what I'm
this
saying. Like,
place.
I'm not, like,
She's a regular from work.
is the place getting a cut though?
Yeah.
That's what I don't know. But we do find out later that she is kind of like a in-house prostitute.
Well, prostitution, I think, is legal in New Mexico. There is
Well-
like 3 or 4 states that it's legal in the US, and I think New Mexico I might be wrong about that, but I know it's like Nevada, but I think New Mexico might be on that list. I'm
Well, not at
100%.
this time because the sheriff does make a comment later. Like you
That
better
is true,
better be
yeah.
personal shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so next up is Wally. So, just to be clear, we have a Willie and a Wally. they should have changed
They
that.
should have definitely changed that.
I'm surprised that we didn't fuck that up.
Wally is, I don't know if you watched the making of.
A little bit.
You know Wally's character is
Yeah.
very, like, goofy and,
Uh-huh.
kinda
He's like
off.
he's a little loser guy.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
seems like he's kinda off in the head.
Yeah.
Willie
Willie's the old guy.
Willie is the old guy. Wally
Wally's
is
the
the guy
post-
who wants to be
Yes.
so Wally.
Yeah.
Did I say Willie or Wally?
You said Wally.
Okay,
You got it
alright.
right.
He is, kind of just a really, like, goofy. He's really into Cordelia.
Yep.
Like, he's, like, obviously in love with her. And then the special features, the first time they have this guy on, he has the most New York mobster accent
Oh, does he?
ever. Yes. It's like, holy shit, where the fuck did that come from? Because you realize how good of an actor he is.
Yeah, I didn't have all the time to go through. That's why I sent you. I was like, you got to go through the special feature stuff because I got to write this thing.
Yeah, he starts
I didn't see
talking,
that.
and he's like, "Yeah, I can't do the New York accent," but he's like, "Yeah, I wish they would have. I love this movie. I wish they'd have made more of them. Like, I wish they would have made 6. I would have done 6 of them."
Well, you died in the first one, so I don't know how that would work. So Wally lives at this boarding house. He has a huge crush on Cordelia, but he is like too scared to ask her out. And he just got fired from the post office for missing mail. And we see here that he's pretty upset about this. And finally, we have Geraldine, which is a terrible name. And we learn
It's
that
Geraldine.
Geraldine.
It's Geraldine.
Yeah.
How did I have Geraldine? Thought they were calling her Geraldine.
No, Geraldine. like
Geraldine.
Coraline, but Geraldine.
Awful.
Yeah. And we learn that she does indeed work here because she is a convict out on work release, and it becomes immediately obvious that she hates it. So, an interesting thing about this scene is when Geraldine walks out to show Breaker to his room, they kind of immediately recognize each other despite never having met before.
Yeah.
Very intentional.
Also, this is Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah.
So we can all just go ahead and get that out the way. She's awful.
Yeah,
Just gonna put that out there.
I got a
Sorry,
fact.
Will Smith.
I got a fact about her at the very end of this thing that just you'll be like, "Yep, that's no surprise. That sounds about right." Yeah, so one could conclude that the look these two give each other and the stars on Breaker's palm, they probably have something to do with each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get a feel that there's
There's
some
something.
significance
Yeah.
here.
So a little while later, we see Breaker and the gang all hanging out in the lobby as Breaker eats a bowl of green paste, which I don't know what
I don't
what's
know
that
what the
supposed to be.
fuck I don't know if it was guacamole.
I don't know.
Like,
And then he puts ketchup in it. I was
yeah.
like, oh, man, this is just getting worse. When suddenly another resident named Roach walks in and immediately starts talking about the attempted car theft from earlier. After a bit of chatting, he grabs Cordelia and takes her upstairs for some oddly kinky and aggressive sex, which
Gotta get his car jumped.
we will see later on, leaving Breaker a little nervous about the cops also being on his trail. This is also about to get way worse because next we see Irene sneak off with the phone and call the police station, informing them that the man they're looking for is at her boarding house. You know, I thought about it the whole movie. If you wouldn't have did that, none of this shit would have happened.
Yeah. Yeah. She fucked up.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, or was this destined to happen though?
That's true. Maybe.
With this was destined to happen because this is where we find out the significance of the whole tattoo palm thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away too much, but
also, poor Wally, like, he's not only doing shit for this girl who has, like, no interest in him, but he, along with everybody else, has to listen to her just get pounded by the fucking mechanic from Wings.
Bro, and she's sitting on that table, and the lady who owns it that
Yeah.
put her name wrong, she's like, "Get that pussy off the table."
Yeah.
And she was out. She said she was talking about the cat.
Yeah.
But the way
Cordelia jumps up.
Cordelia jumps up, like it has like the scolded dog look.
Yeah.
Like she played that part so good.
Yeah. Anyway, next we see Breaker still sitting in the lobby talking to Willie and Geraldine when suddenly the two cops and the collector walk in looking for him, prompting him to jump up, pull out a switchblade, grab Geraldine by the neck, and hold her hostage, demanding the cops drop their guns. But the collector quickly shouts to the cops that he knows this man really well, and he knows that he definitely won't kill an innocent person, basically calling Breaker's bluff, which totally works as he soon releases her and gives up.
Yeah, that should have been like a clue to the cops. Like, so this guy, like, you know him so well, he wouldn't harm an innocent person.
Yeah.
But yet you say he's going to cause bad stuff to happen in our town?
Yeah. They then immediately place him under arrest and call in his driver's license info as they begin to search him for the supposedly stolen artifact, which they don't find. Deputy Bob then heads up to search Breaker's room, where he ends up hearing Roach and Cordelia, prompting him to kick the door in, where he sees Roach handcuffed to the bed with a naked Cordelia on top of him, while she turns a dial on a car battery that is connected to Roach's nipples. I love the fact that she immediately recognizes Bob. Like, he's obviously like a frequent visitor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Also, that she clearly keeps this battery, these jumper
Yeah.
cables that fit nipples
Yeah.
in her room.
Yeah, this is just so Tales from the Crypt, man.
It is.
Yeah. There's also a couple funny lines about this, like here, like a minute later, which is like Roach. First, Roach is like yelling to turn it off because his nipples are smoking.
Yeah.
And then once they all head down to the lobby, Sheriff Tupper makes a comment about like Cordelia's personal business. And Bob says, well, it was more like a tune-up and lube job. It's just like, just fucking stupid Tales from the Crypt comedy.
Man, the girl who plays her, though, Cordelia, good
Hot,
God,
yeah.
man, she is like stunning.
So after the search in the room turns up nothing, the sheriff then tells his partner that the background check from the driver's license came back and revealed that Breaker has stolen someone's identity because the real Frank Breaker died 5 years ago. And this prompts the two cops to tell Breaker that he's going to be spending a couple days in a jail cell. and right as they get ready to take him to jail, Uncle Willie interrupts, shouting that he knows where Breaker stashed the artifact, prompting him to then pull it out from under the table. And this is where we get our first look at this thing that Breaker is so desperate to keep out of the collector's hands. And what we have here is about like a 7-8 inch like fancy gold bottle in the shape of a key with those same stars we saw on Breaker's palm and like red liquid inside.
Well, it's a bottle inside of a metal key.
Yeah.
And I thought that this set piece was like super Tales from the Crypt. Like it's very something you would see in like a comic book or something. But I thought that if you look really close at it, like it has rust pits in it. Like it's super fucking old. Like it's steel that's been aged and it's rusted out over the years, but been kept clean. But just the pitted rust and stuff. And
at some
I
point
thought
it
that
was
really good.
It looks like at some point this thing was like buried for a long time, and now someone's got it out of the ground and taken better care of it. But it does have a very good aged look. So as Willie holds it in his hand, staring at it, a now very happy collector then places an old briefcase on the table and asks Willie to place it inside. But he quickly interrupts Willie, telling him to please dump out whatever Breaker has put in the bottle before placing it in the case. But before he can even get the cap off, Tupper snatches the bottle away and tells the collector that he is also going to jail because they just found out that both of the cars in the accident were stolen. The collector then attempts to talk his way out of it because, as we will see throughout the rest of this movie, he is very much like a charismatic, smooth talker. But Sheriff Tupper isn't falling for it and tells him to keep moving, and it is at this point where the collector realizes that to get what he wants, he is going to have to use force. He then quickly spins around and punches right through Tupper's whole entire head with his fist bursting out of the back of his skull, stunning everyone. Awesome looking too. Great job.
Not only was this awesome looking, but the touch on his hand getting stuck was, I thought, so good.
Yeah.
And like, it's kind of realistic. If you could punch through somebody's fucking face, you don't think about the aftermath of your fucking arm being stuck in through like the hole in their skull.
Yeah. The collector then starts to struggle to get his arm out of the man's head when suddenly Bob snaps out of it and attempts to pull his gun from the holster. Breaker then grabs the handcuff keys and starts to unlock them in order to get his hands free in order to try to get to the bottle. The collector, who still can't get his arm out, it does take a long time for him to get his fucking arm out, finally just says fuck it and rips the whole head off the body, where he then tosses it across the room at Bob. Breaker finally gets free and dives on Tupper's dead body, grabbing the bottle, but soon gets choked by the collector. This doesn't last long, though, as we then see Breaker press the bottle against the collector's face, where it immediately lights up bright red, burning the demon badly, causing him to run off, diving out of the window. This causes the whole group to run over and look outside, where the collector reveals that he hates humans, is tired of playing this game, and just wants the damn key, which means that this bottle artifact thing is really a magical key that probably opened something pretty bad.
Yeah.
The collector then tells everyone that this property is now condemned as he slices his palm and lets his bright green blood splash on the ground. I love the fucking neon blood, man. It's so cool looking, and it looks even better on this Blu-ray copy.
Well, this is one of those like things I was talking about with the CGI, where this type of CGI could ruin any other movie, but in a Tales from the Crypt, where you want that like comic book dark feel to it.
You're talking about the color of the blood?
Yeah, where they go in and they go in and all brighten the color of the blood, and they do it throughout the movie in multiple different things. Like, that is something that, a normal movie, it could ruin it. But a movie like this, you don't think of, like, realism when you're watching, Tales from the Crypt. You're not
Well,
like, "Oh, that was unrealistic."
what if I told you that the green blood is practical?
Well, I would not be surprised to find out that the green blood was some type of glowing liquid, like a glow stick liquid,
It is
but
the
I
liquid from a glow stick that the
do
effects department had to cut open.
yeah, but I do think that they went in and digitally enhanced the color.
I mean, I don't know that, but I do know that the special effects department bitched about having to cut like hundreds of fucking glow sticks open,
Well,
and it only
yeah.
glowed for so long, so that was another issue, but yeah.
Well, I think the reason I think that is I've seen many a glow sticks in my lifetime, and this has a certain brightness to it that's a little heavier than what a glow stick does, but it also matches the red CGI, like when they put it in the doorway and it goes around the doorway and stuff. It matches that same kind of intensity, and it seems like that they definitely went back and made that brighter through CGI.
I mean, they could have. I mean, it could be color grading. It could be how the lens picked it up. I don't know. There could be other thing. I don't know. I feel like it would be really hard to CGI that many droplets of blood in frames. Like it would take a while. But I don't know. So all of this green blood on the ground starts to bubble, smoke, and even catch fire as everyone looks on in confusion. And out of these gross ass little puddles, slimy, evil looking demons rise out of the ground, which is a very cool scene.
Yeah,
I love this part, man. This is awesome.
it's so fucking gross and just so Tales from the Crypt. That's the best way I can put it.
This is like another thing too that I don't know why, but it reminds me of Creepshow. I think it's because the very first skit in Creepshow is like the zombie coming out of the ground and he looks awesome. And this is kind of similar in a way.
Well, Creepshow was also, kind of inspired by Tales from the Crypt.
So a ton of anorexic, creepy ass demons surround the house, which freaks everybody out. And to make matters worse, they immediately start jumping in the windows and coming through the front door, trying to attack everyone, forcing Breaker to grab Tupper's gun and start killing these things. Once he gets them cleared out of the house, he is then able to run over to the doorway, open the key, and pour a line of the red liquid across the door frame, which then begins to glow neon red, creating a magic barrier that the rest of the demons cannot cross. And after a few more close calls, Breaker is finally able to seal up the back door and the rest of the windows, essentially leaving them barricaded in the boarding house with a horde of mutated demons waiting outside. Now it is a siege movie. Very similar to,
From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name.
I thought the red, too, the red touch was very Creepshow-esque.
Yes.
And when I say that was Creepshow was inspired by Tales from the Crypt, I mean, like the comics, obviously. It came almost a decade before these movies and the Tales from the Crypt TV show. But yeah, that it's just that comic book color scheme.
Yeah, it's
those bright blues, reds, and greens. It's just very, very comic book.
And it works for a movie like Creepshow or a movie like this. Like, it just works so well.
Especially in the 90s, man. Like, the 90s just, and I know Creepshow was the 80s, but I know we talked about this when we covered it, especially with the 4K scan. Like, it feels like a 90s movie.
Yeah.
It does so much.
Yeah, and that the Stephen King skit where that green, like neon green fucking alien moss shit is growing everywhere. Yeah, I mean, it works really well for that movie and this movie. And one thing that I love about this movie, besides the bright colors, is the whole entire movie is essentially my favorite nighttime ever, which is the dark blue nighttime.
Yeah.
I love the dark blue nighttime. Wish they'd bring it back. And this whole movie is nothing but that, and I love it. So right as things begin to calm down some, dumbass Roach talks Cordelia into making a run for it to the car. But as soon as they reach the steps of the boarding house, a demon jumps out towards them, where we immediately see Roach throw his girlfriend towards the demon, buying him enough time to run back inside. The demon tackles Cordelia to the ground, but Wally, the depressed postman, grabs Bob's gun and runs out to save her, quickly firing 3 shots into the demon's head. But to his surprise, it doesn't work, prompting the demon to look at him and laugh. I don't know why, man, but this is actually, in my opinion, one of the coolest shots of the demon. Like, he gets the 3 shots in his head and he looks up at him with the glowing eyes and he laughs and like some smoke comes out of his mouth. It's just a cool scene.
Yeah, it is a really cool scene. And when Wally makes those eye shots, I was like, well, I find it hard to believe a guy like Wally would make those shots. You know, if you've ever shot a handgun before, you know how proficient you have to be to make 2 eye shots. But there is something that happens towards the end of the movie that makes this make sense.
He may have been practicing. Yeah. So Breaker then yells for him to shoot the creatures in the eyes, and when he does, it not only kills him, but it also shoots green lightning out of his eyes, sending Wally flying across the porch. But thankfully for him, this buys Cordelia and Breaker enough time to run out, drag him safely inside, with Breaker slamming the door in the collector's face. So after this, Breaker then starts going room to room, making sure it's safe, when he suddenly has a vision showing us the beginning of the key. And even though this vision is really quick, we do see a couple important things. So one, it appears to take place during Jesus' crucifixion. 2, there is a demon wearing a cloak standing off to the side. And 3, a man holding the key attempts to hand it to this demon when suddenly lightning comes shooting out of the sky, hitting the man and bringing him to his knees in pain. So obviously, this key is very old and an important religious artifact. So once things with the demons calm down a bit, a few important things happen with our characters here. So first, we see Irene grab her husband's shotgun and load it up, giving the group a little more firepower when the time comes. Then we see Geraldine's cat, which was previously stuck outside with the demons, has managed to make its way back inside, prompting Breaker to chase after it, believing it could be possessed, causing him and some of the others to end up in the basement, where they find an old tunnel leading out of the house. Also, Roach pulls Wally to the side, asking for his help, stealing the key from Breaker and handing it over to the collector in a trade for their lives. Of course, Wally shoots this down, but this conversation leads to Roach threatening and hitting Cordelia, making her swear that she won't reveal his plans to the others.
Well, he smacks the shit out of her.
Yes, he does.
So Roach is one of those examples of really, really scumbag character that
and he does it well.
Yeah, that I think that they may have added into the script to make it more Tales from the Crypt.
I think you are correct. I want to say that rings a bell to me when I was reading about some of the script changes.
Yeah, I didn't get into the script changes, but I know there was some to make it more Tales from the Crypt, and his character was the first that came to mind. He is very much that Tales from the Crypt, just super scumbag character that is just waiting for his karma.
Yep. So after he makes his point, he then storms out, leaving Cordelia alone in her room upset, when suddenly the smooth, calming voice of the collector begins talking to her despite being still stuck outside. And this is where we find out that one of his abilities that he has is he has the power to kind of look into people's minds and see their wants, needs, and weaknesses, which he then uses against them, which is exactly what he's about to do here. So now that he has Cordelia's attention, he starts telling her that he knows that she really is just a sad girl who wants to be loved by someone, and he can give that to her. She then looks out her window where he sees him standing down there looking up at her, and as she starts to cry, he uses his powers to wipe away her tears, totally putting her under his spell. She's into it.
Yeah, they do a close up on her face, and with the I'm sure you probably couldn't see this back in the 90s when you got the home release VHS or DVD, but on the Scream Factory version of it, you can actually see her skin slightly moving.
Yeah.
Like he's touching her face.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that mostly because there's one where her tear wipes away.
Yeah.
And then there's another one where you see, like, her lips.
Her lips.
Yeah.
He's, like, rubbing across her face.
And I have no clue, like, what they did. I guess they could have, like, used compressed air, probably.
They could have did that, or they could have had her do it with her tongue. Just do it in a way that kind of started out the scene with her tongue just slightly pressed up against her bottom lip.
No, it may be.
I went back and looked at it and was like, because I thought it was really cool, and it was something that I don't know if you would have noticed on an old TV or old DVD or VHS release because it's so slight. But yeah, I went back and watched it, and it was a really cool addition.
Yeah. So he then tells her she can have all of the love she wants. All she has to do is let him in her mind, body, and soul, which she quickly does. Wally then finally decides to go check on her, and when he walks inside her room, she immediately starts coming on to him, telling him that she just now realized that he is the guy that she has been looking for her whole life. I'm surprised it didn't ring a bell for him, like ring an alarm. Because when you've been around this girl for years, it's very odd. Like, she knows, like, he is into her, and then all of a sudden, yeah. I don't know, but I'd be kind of sketched out by that.
Yeah, well, this guy's, like, so blinded by being in love with this girl. I don't think he's passing up any opportunities.
He's like, we might get killed by demons in an hour. Let's do what we're going to do. They then start to make out when we suddenly cut back to the basement as the others begin to hear Wally screaming from upstairs. Once they run up, Breaker kicks open the door to find a now possessed-looking Cordelia on top of Wally, eating his face. Breaker quickly attempts to shoot Demon Cordelia, but she blocks the shot with Wally's body, throwing him across the room, effectively knocking Breaker to the floor. She then jumps on him and is holding him by the neck, but before she can sink her teeth into his face, he attempts to burn her with the key. She quickly blocks this, though, by backhanding the key into the hallway, where we see it begin to spill the neon red liquid at the top of the stairs, before being picked up by Irene. Irene then runs back over to the bedroom doorway and attempts to use it to burn Cordelia, but the demon grabs her arm and slams it against the door frame with so much force, the bone snaps, allowing her to rip the arm clean off, sending Irene stumbling backwards in tremendous pain. Dude, the fucking demon Cordelia looks awesome. The fucking arm rip-off looks awesome.
This is my favorite scene of the movie. Like, this whole thing, like, the way she looks, like, her just from the very beginning when they walk in and she's eating his fucking face and, like, looks up at them, she looks awesome.
Yeah.
Still kind of hot, even in her demon form. Yeah, and then the arm rip off, her getting her head blown off, like, this whole thing is, I think, one of the best scenes of the entire movie, if not the best.
Agreed. There's actually one later on that I think looks so fucking cool, but this is definitely up there too. So the possessed Cordelia then turns to run away, with Breaker thinking quick on his feet, grabbing Irene's shotgun and shooting her in the back of the head, causing her to explode into green lightning. After all that, the gang then takes Irene down to the lobby and attempts to bandage her up, where a now very frustrated Geraldine shouts that they have to get her to a hospital before she bleeds to death, hinting that they should take their chances escaping through the tunnel in the basement, which Breaker has already shot down once before. Despite most of the group agreeing with her, Breaker again says it is too dangerous, which ignites an argument between everybody, when Roach then makes his dislike of Breaker known to everyone, saying they should just take the key from him and give it to the demons, who will then just leave them alone. Sure that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah.
It's demons, dude.
Yeah. They're not wanting the key for something good.
Yeah. So this prompts Breaker to point his pistol in Roach's face, telling him that if he tries anything, he will shoot him right in the eyes. So after this big blow up, we then get another one of Breaker's flashbacks, which puts us again at the crucifixion. And what we see here is the demon reaching out at the man from before, when suddenly some of Jesus' blood drips on him, immediately burning the demon's flesh, killing him. This gives the man an idea as he then holds up the key, allowing it to be filled with the blood of Christ, which explains why it can be poured on the ground to create that barrier thing that demons can't cross. The group then heads down to the basement where Roach breaks the boards free, allowing everyone to escape into the tunnel. And after thinking about it for a minute, Breaker decides to join them just in case they need help, making sure to seal up the entrance with the blood from the key.
Dude, could you imagine what the Catholic Church would do to this man if they found out that he had a vial that even had trace amounts of the blood of Jesus?
Yeah.
Like, the collector would no longer be...
Yeah.
he would no longer be, like, important.
Yeah.
It would be the Catholic Church going after him.
Well, you just imagine, like, they're both outside. Like, the Catholic Church and the collector are both fucking arguing to get the key. Yeah, 100%. So while attempting to navigate through this tunnel, Geraldine stumbles across the kid from earlier, who is Danny, where it is quickly revealed that both his mom and dad have been possessed by demons and are in the tunnel with them. This revelation caused everyone to panic and take off running back towards the house, and at first, it seems like Breaker's seal idea actually saves them all, considering everyone made it back with the horde of demons now standing at the tunnel entrance. When suddenly, Roach's dumbass decides that he wants to shoot his old boss, who is now possessed, which breaks the seal and causes a huge explosion. I don't really personally understand why the shotgun breaks the seal, though. The seal is only effective to demons. They just ran through it.
Because it's
a movie.
It's
plot.
Tales from the Crypt. Like, if if you shoot a bullet or a shotgun blast through this...
A magic seal.
Yeah, this fake seal.
It's like
that
real glass.
doesn't affect anything but demons, and it happens to kill a demon, it will blow the seal.
Well, bullets can be bad. So maybe that's the thought. But it's like, well, bullets are bad too. So
why wouldn't the demons just go get bullets? Like, why wouldn't they carry guns around if they could just break the seal with the bullet?
Good point. Yeah, just shoot through there.
So it has to be like, because that would be such a major plot hole. It has to be that the bullet must pass through the seal and then immediately into a demon, which makes no sense.
Well, maybe it was like the bullet went through. I should have watched it close because maybe the bullet hit the demon in the eye, and then the eye lightning is what broke the seal. I don't know. I don't know how powerful demon eye lightning is.
Or blood of Jesus Christ seals.
And we know that it's diluted, so it's not like it's not concentrate like from the source.
Yeah. Back in the day, that wasn't an issue.
Yeah. So demons then start entering the basement, forcing everyone to take off running upstairs to the second floor, where thankfully, because the key spilled a little bit earlier, there's still a seal on the steps, keeping the demons at bay just mere feet away from the group. And just to make matters even worse, they are almost out of bullets. So during this part of the movie, we see Irene, who is now missing, half her arm, and we see her running around a lot with this bloody stump. So the reason I bring this up is because the actress who played her actually had to wear a small fat suit for the duration of filming, so that during the scene where her arm gets ripped off in like the rest of the movie, she would have a place to hide her real arm within the extra padding. Fucking smart, man.
That is smart.
I wouldn't have thought about that. I didn't catch that, she was wearing kind of a suit. Yeah, definitely a smart idea.
When you take into effect like all the things like that, the actual like practical effects, like the arm rip off and then the makeup stuff and the explosions, like the special effects team, the preparation for I think it was initially a 40-day, but they turned it into a 20-day, which is why he got that hanger so they could they didn't have to shoot primarily at night. They could shoot during the day too, because he just thought that 40 days was just too long of a shoot. But the amount of preparation that they must have had coming into this to make all this shit happen in a 20-day shoot is insane.
Well, like, think of just imagine how many fake heads are in this movie.
Oh,
and they had to somebody had to sculpt all that and then cast it.
Or how many, like, fucking just, like, prosthetics for the demon heads and shit.
Yeah. I mean, there's I'm thinking of like 4 fake heads right now that I can think of that they have in the movie. But so one of the interesting things is, you remember I was talking about how Universal pitched in some extra money to make the demons. Well, it wasn't that much. And what they ended up having to do was they had 2 like real skinny dudes that worked there in the special effects shop. And the guy was basically like, hey, I need you guys to get in your underwear. And he basically sent this to Universal where he was like, look, if we just get a bunch of skinny people, most of their costume is their body painted. So we didn't have to spend so much money on prosthetics or a suit or anything. And that was just kind of the genius with how they did it, where they had to do this on such a shoestring special effects budget. And the fact that it still looks good and it still works to this day.
Yeah, I think half of being a extremely effective special effects artist back then, and probably even now, was figuring out how to make things work
With
when
nothing.
you don't have the money to make things work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, the artist side of it is one thing, but being able to make, $1 look like 10 was definitely probably or definitely a big, I would say, grab to somebody making a movie.
Well, I also think, too, that's one of the big reasons why when you go to, like, the prop auctions and you look at something from, the 90s, like a prop from the 90s, and it just is in such bad shape, you got to remember, too, like, they didn't have the money to build this thing to last. This was built as cheap as possible, and it's going to degrade. It's going to look bad.
And it was probably done as fast as they could, because they were probably behind schedule, over budget, like last minute change.
Mhm.
Somebody stayed up after working a 14-hour day and painted the shit in their basement the day before shooting. Like, yeah, this is definitely stuff was not meant to last.
So next up, we get another flashback, but this time it is in the trenches of World War I. And we immediately see Breaker, who is surrounded by dead soldiers, shoot a man to death. He then runs over to his captain, who is very badly wounded and on the verge of death, and he begins to tell him that they have been ambushed. The captain then starts filling the key up with his own blood before handing it to Breaker, which kind of transfers all of the power and knowledge of the keeper of this key to him. After this, he then pulls the key from his hand and looks at his palm, where for the first time ever, he sees those stars form a shape. And this is obviously how Breaker ended up in this situation, and also shows us that he is very old, yet has not aged a day. So after this, the group then demands to know just what the hell is going on here, to which Breaker then explains why the Collector wants this thing so bad and why he is trying so hard to keep it from him. So, the story goes, when God first created the earth, it was covered in darkness, and in the darkness is where these demons lived. The demons had 7 keys to focus the power of the cosmos into their hands. God then came forward and created light, which in turn scattered the demons and the keys. Fast forward to the time of man, and the demons have returned with 6 of the 7 keys, dead set on finding the last one. In order to help man, God filled the key with the blood of Christ and gave it to a thief, which slowly over time worked its way to Breaker. Now, a very small amount of the blood in the key still belongs to Christ, with most of it coming from the protectors of the key. So it basically keeps getting refilled with the blood of these guys as they die and pass it on.
Which is a really, like, smart way to if you never let the vial fully run out,
Yeah.
if it's always refilled before it's empty, it would always have a small amount of Jesus' blood in it.
Yeah, definitely. That is one appeal to this movie to me, is that it does have a unique story to it. This is not
Yeah.
something we see all the time.
Well, I think
Good story.
that's why it went through Hollywood for so long too.
Yeah, people kept wanting to do it, and it was
yeah.
just a money problem over and
Yeah.
over again. So, in a gist, if the collector gets his hands on this key, it will allow them to banish the light and take the world back over, ending mankind for good, which is also another reason why we're like right around this scene where they're basically like, what are we going to do? And Breaker tells them like, we just have to wait the night out, as soon as the sun comes up. And that explains that because the demons can only operate at nighttime. So another fun fact here. For the crucifixion flashback scenes, the production brought in mounds of dirt from a local pig farm to dress the set. However, the dirt was mostly mixed with pig shit and led to the set smelling awful, much to the dismay of the cast and crew who spent hours on the set.
Yeah, apparently they had to take all of it out and bring new dirt in
Did
too,
they?
'cause
Oh, man.
Yeah, he said they had to like, it wasted a whole day because they had to essentially have all this taken out because I guess they didn't know that half of it was shit and get actual dirt in there because it was obviously unsanitary to have the
Yeah.
actors in there.
Yeah, pig shit, probably not good to be
Yes,
spending all day in.
and they talked about how hot it was always because obviously there was no AC in
yeah.
this hangar, and yeah, so like the heat
Makes it worse.
mixed with the shit. Yeah, they told a couple funny things with the hangar. One of them was like the pigeons. Like there was pigeons that nested in the top. So every time
Jeez.
they would shoot a scene, they would have a shotgun with a blank, and they would have to shoot it.
Oh,
It would
scare
be
'em
like
off?
3, 2, boom, and then they would whisper action. And it was because it would freak the pigeons. They couldn't get them out. They said they tried to get them out. They couldn't. They were too high and there was too many of them. But it would scare the pigeons where they would have a good like 10, 15 minutes to shoot before they would start making their pigeon sounds again. Because apparently it would get so loud it would ruin a take. Like they couldn't even remove the sound.
When you first said that they were so high, I was thinking like the crew is just too
Just
stoned to get
figure it out.
How do we get these fucking pigeons out of here, man? Like, and then every time they come up with a good idea, somebody shows up with a pizza and nothing gets done. So after Breaker drops this bomb on everybody, they notice that the kid Danny is missing, prompting the group to panic and go look for him. And when this happens, we see Roach pickpocket Breaker and steal the key with plans to negotiate his survival with the collector. A few moments later, we see Geraldine walk into one of the rooms to look for Danny when suddenly she starts to hear the collector's voice speaking to her. And as she looks around, she realizes that she's kind of been transported to like a studio apartment with pictures of her on vacations all over the world hanging on the walls. And the collector begins to tell her that if she just helps him out, he will give her everything she has always wanted, including a chance to travel all over the place, living a life of pure bliss and enjoyment. I gotta say, dude, this scene here has a very 90s music video vibe to it.
Yeah, it does. Like edgy.
Yeah.
90s edgy. Like somebody should be street skating somewhere in the video.
It makes sense because the director, Dickerson, did a ton of music videos around this time. Like that was one of the things he did. He was a cinematographer for music videos. So it just adds
Makes
up.
sense, yeah.
So he then tells her that Breaker's pretty much dead meat, and if she sticks with him, she's going to be in the same boat. And just to make this sink in even more, he quickly pulls away a sheet, revealing a bunch of demons eating Breaker's dead body, which scares the shit out of her. Very cool looking dead body, though. Like, it looks dead on him. And they're like literally eating his fucking whole entire abdomen.
Yeah, that and even before that, that was obviously the coolest looking fucking thing in this entire shot. But I loved the canvas of her up there. It was like a big sheet.
Yeah, yeah.
And the hands like pushing through
Yeah, the
on the
demon
other
hands,
side.
yeah.
And then they, they back away and he mentions like, if you don't do this, you're going to die. And she starts like crying tears, like blood starts running through the sheet. I just thought that was so fucking cool, man. The imagery on that's just so cool.
It's very artsy,
Yeah.
but very horror at the same time. Very
He
cool,
even
yeah.
plays music. Like he even goes into the I don't know if it's an actual song or if it's just like it sounded like a basic like track. But yeah, it's definitely very edgy, artsy fucking 90s music video.
Well, I don't know, it might be just me, but in these scenes where he's like trying to convince these people to join him, like that smooth tone he had is super relaxing. Like Billy Zane could fucking work for Audible, dude.
Well,
like he could read books and, put you to sleep. Like it's very calming.
He's got that very persuasive, like that's how he's able to talk to cops. And in the very beginning, although normally in a car wreck situation, and somebody says that they were driving one of these cars and they're looking for this guy, he's able to persuade these cops to like just go along. It's almost like he has Jedi powers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it almost seems like in the beginning that he's so persuasive and such a smooth talker that Grabber,
The Collector?
the collector. No, not the collector, the fucking main character.
Oh, Breaker?
Breaker.
Okay.
I don't know why I was saying Grabber. Breaker doesn't even try to argue. Like like when the cops have him at first and they go in there, it's like he knows. He's been through this so many times, he knows that he's not going to out-persuade the cops.
Well, and he also, because, a lot of people judge books by their cover, right? And you look at Breaker, he's got this leather jacket, he's got fucking leather gloves with the finger cut, like it's kind of a biker look almost. And, his hair is kind of not necessarily great. He's got stubble and all this shit. And then you look at the Collector, nice, jacket, nice hat, nice shirt, like very articulate, very good, smooth talker. Yeah, when you look at these two, if you were going to judge a book by their cover, you'd probably lean towards the Collector.
You know what it reminds me of? Which is a completely different feeling movie. Phantasm. How they're going through from town to town, and they get this very like rough look. 'Cause they're on the road all the time, but the tall man's always like neat, and then the suit and like super confident.
Yeah, I could kind of see the comparison. But you're talking about like a comparison with
like he's got the tall man has this like clean look, although he looks creepy as fuck. But he's always in a suit, and he's very confident and. These dudes are on they're like city to city, very rough look. They've been on the road for years.
Yeah, and they both have their minions too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both have the army of fucking like dead minion things. Yeah, definitely. So he then comes up behind her, wrapping his arms around her body and makes her one last promise. If she changes sides, he will guarantee she won't turn into a demon and will always look just like she does right now. He then spins her around and, while still holding her hand, looks her right in the eyes and says, "All you gotta do is say yes." And without wasting a single second, Geraldine gives her answer by spitting right in his face. He actually takes this pretty well, though, telling her that he realizes she doesn't trust him yet, but he is willing to give it a little time and believes that she will come to the right conclusion soon enough. Once she meets back up with the rest of the group, it is discovered that Willie never returned, prompting a one-armed shotgun-wielding Irene and Bob to go look for him. While Breaker and Roach continue to watch the demons down below, and Geraldine stands there, still shocked by her encounter with the Collector. They pretty quickly find him in the attic drinking a bottle of whiskey while Danny reads comic books, and a now angry Irene then sends him and Danny back downstairs, telling them to have Breaker meet her up here with the key. Now, for some reason, Willie goes into this random room looking for Breaker, but he is immediately shocked to find that the room is now decorated with lights, full of alcohol, and topless women who are excited for his arrival. Fun fact, Dick Miller, who plays Uncle Willie, actually said it took him 17 takes to film this scene because he was so distracted by all the naked ladies, he just couldn't get his lines right.
So when he says that, he guesses 17, but he said it took them damn near a whole day for him to get his fucking lines for this.
It reminded me when we covered Poultrygeist and you were telling me about Lloyd Kaufman, how his what was it like? He was doing something and the guys behind the scene were like, he doesn't know, he's distracted by the
His
boobs.
balls.
Was it his
Oh,
ball?
no, I thought you were going to bring up the balls thing, though, where
No.
he's doing the dance, and they're like, he doesn't know his balls are hanging out.
Well, no, remember, he directed it, and
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
do you think he notices, how pissed that girl was? And they were like, he's just looking at all those boobs.
Yeah,
And the camera pans over, and he's smiling.
Yeah, it's just whole thing's a dumpster fire. They're about to lose one of their leads, and he's just like, he's just oblivious to it because of the boobs.
Yeah, that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, I thought that was also fucking hilarious. I'm glad you brought it up, 'cause
Yeah.
if not, I was going to.
So these naked ladies that are all holding a full bottle of liquor surround him and begin flirting and offering him a drink, which Willie is so excited about and doesn't seem to think that this is like really weird at all. We then cut to Danny, who is standing behind him, and we get this funny shot of basically like what Danny is seeing here in like the real world. And it's just Willie standing in this dark bedroom, staring at a wall, holding his arms up in celebration. And Danny's like, what the fuck are you doing? Willie then makes his way over to the bar. And when the bartender turns around, it is revealed to be the collector, who appears to be offering Willie his favorite alcoholic beverage. And after a very brief hesitation, like it's quick,
Yeah.
Willie takes the glass and gulps it down, where we, the viewer, see some of the demon's neon green blood swish around at the bottom of the drink.
I loved that the guy who played Willie, he very, very famous, been in a ton of fucking movies.
Yeah, Dick Miller.
Dick Miller he's still alive when they did the, I don't know if he's still alive now, but I think it was 2015 when they did the Scream Factory, did the release for this, that because he's old in this movie. Like, he's not drastically old, but good God, this was fucking
1995,
over 30 years ago. And I love that he was still alive and in good health to come and do the documentary for that.
Well, the couple interviews I did see from some of the cast and the crew, like, it seems like everybody that worked on this thing had a blast.
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith probably hated it, but
She's
she hates
awful.
everything.
Yeah, she's awful.
But it seems like everyone else loved filming this movie.
Yeah, everybody that talked about it fucking seemed to have had a blast.
Yeah.
Like, even a couple of them said it was their favorite movie that they did. And you're talking about, like, some people who've been in a lot of stuff.
Billy Zane's been in a ton of, like, big budget Hollywood movies, and he was like, oh, this was my favorite movie. Like, I wish I could go back in time and do it again. So meanwhile, up in the attic, Bob and Irene have discovered boxes of the mail that Wally was accused of stealing and a box filled with machine guns and a note that says that he was planning to shoot up the post office for Cordelia. I'm not really sure why he would do that for Cordelia or why she would, like, care about that, but that was his plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why he would, like, to shoot it up because he didn't like the people he worked with, okay, but I
That's
don't
not okay.
understand,
That's
like, yeah, but
for the viewers, that's not okay.
I mean, it makes more sense than him shooting it up for
Yeah,
her,
yeah.
who has nothing to do with the place. And then he's going to go to jail, so
then
then he doesn't even get her. I don't understand.
feel like there was something in the original writing that didn't make the final cut or got cut out of the script and didn't get filmed to make that make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, despite the big box of guns, Wally hadn't bought any bullets, so this discovery is of no use to the group here. But Bob does manage to find like a suicide vest covered in grenades, which might be pretty helpful. So after a while, Breaker and Geraldine go looking for Willie, and when they walk in the room, they immediately spot Danny hiding in the corner when suddenly a very possessed Willie jumps out and attacks Breaker, grabbing him by the neck and lifting him in the air. Geraldine, who obviously doesn't want to kill Uncle Willie, begins to sob while holding Breaker's knife and begging him to stop. Demon Willie then turns and backhands her across the room, knocking her out. But this gives Breaker just enough time to grab a machete off the wall and slice Willie's head off. But just as they breathe a sigh of relief, the body comes back alive and starts to choke Breaker again. Danny then joins in, realizing that Geraldine is down for the count, grabs Willie's still animated demon head and slams him down face first onto a set of deer antlers, stabbing out the eyes and causing another bright green explosion, killing possessed Uncle Willie for good. This is a great scene. I love how at first Danny throws the rug over the decapitated head, causing Willie's his body not to be able to see.
Yeah.
And it lets Breaker kind of get away.
Yeah, I thought that was this whole scene. While I don't think it's as good as
the Cordelia
scene, I do put it up there. I thought he looked, for one, like
the glowing eyes, dude.
Yeah, dude, he looked fucking incredible. But from the time of his possession scene or whatever you would call it, with all the boobs and booze, on to when he dies, like that, all of that's gold.
Yeah, I do think it's just a great scene. Like
it is such a Tales from the Crypt scene.
Yes,
too.
it is. And you have to have the boobs in there. It's Tales from the Crypt, man. Like it's gonna be it. I don't know because I haven't looked into this, but I bet you every episode of Tales from the Crypt had boobs.
Yeah. And this had boobs, booze, and blood.
Yes, it did. While that was going on, we then cut to the attic where we see Bob has headed back downstairs, leaving Irene alone, when suddenly the collector appears, offering to give her arm back if she helps him. Irene very quickly gives him her answer by pointing her bloody stump at him, and when he asks if that is a yes, she says no, that is her giving him the finger, prompting him to take the hint and vanish. I remember that I was so young the first time I saw this movie, that joke went right over my head. I remember trying to figure out what the fuck she meant.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, you must have been young.
Well, I remember, I knew that, if you flicked somebody off, I knew what that meant, but I didn't know the term giving the finger.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant.
I love him, serving the arm.
The arm on the bladder, yeah.
I thought that was great. I think the actress who played Cordelia on the making of made a good point that he went after Cordelia because she was kind of the mentally the weakest of the group. And you kind of see that as the movie goes on, the people he has to go after are the more mentally strong people.
Yep.
And I thought she made a good point of why him going after her and showing her his vision, whatever you want to call those scenes that each character gets, why hers is so much earlier than everybody else's.
Yeah, I could see that. We then cut to Roach, who is now finally by himself at the top of the stairs when he decides it's finally time to make his move. The Collector and a couple of demons quickly rush up to meet with him and make the deal, which, according to the Collector, they have been counting on Roach pretty much all night. I could see why. Now, at first, Roach is a bit hesitant to trust these demons, but that goes out the window pretty fast, with the Collector asking Roach if he minds if they kill the others, to which Roach says that he has no problem with that. The Collector then opens his mouth, revealing a sponge for Roach to clean up the magic blood, effectively removing the seal. The sponge thing was something that also burnt into my mind when I was a kid. And that was actually Billy Zane's idea, who plays the Collector, for a fun little gag in the movie.
It said he actually added a ton of stuff.
He
to
did,
that character.
Yeah, I'll talk more at the end, but kind of what he kind of added to the collect, like what he based the collector off of.
Yeah,
But
I know, yeah.
but they did give him a lot. That's one of the reasons I guess he liked doing the movie so much, is they gave him so much freedom to add things to this character. And he does, like the collector, one of the best parts of this movie.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely has charisma to take a movie over.
Yeah. So Roach then removes the only thing protecting him and everyone else, as he then places the key in the collector's little briefcase and walks off like a dumbass. He then turns around and says, "You know this hell on earth business? Big fucking deal, because I got hemorrhoids." And I was like,
What?
"You're not about to have hemorrhoids anymore." Or an ass, or a face, or lungs.
Yeah, it's you think about too with Cordelia, him going after her first because she was mentally the weakest, and you think of Roach, and you're like, well, if that was true, he would have went after Roach first. But no, he's actually trying to talk these people into letting them become possessed.
Yeah.
And Roach has one of the strongest wills to live, to the point
Selfish.
where he's wanting to flip on everybody, and Roach is one of the few that doesn't get a vision scene, and I think it makes sense because the collector's seen him as so selfish that he would not be willing to give himself up at all. They already had him willing to try to
Yeah.
get the key. He was already going to do everything he could to try to make a deal to save himself, but there was no way he was going to give himself up.
So right before Roach makes it to the front door, the collector stops him and says, "One more thing I forgot to mention. I lied," as we then see a bunch of demons rush him and begin eating him alive, and the sounds of his screams alert Breaker, who rushes out and immediately sees what just happened. Soon after that, the collector and a bunch of his demons head upstairs, when suddenly Breaker fires an arrow, hitting the collector right in the eye, sending him falling back down into the lobby. As the rest of the demons rush towards him, it is revealed that our gang here have set up a bit of an ambush, with Breaker grabbing the case while Bob holds the demons back with his handgun. Bob and Irene then tell everyone to climb into the attic, where they pretty much reveal to Breaker that they are going to sacrifice themselves for the group, holding off and killing as many demons as they can. Bob finally runs out of bullets, tossing the gun and holding Irene tight as she prepares to pull the cord on the bomb vest, blowing themselves up with a bunch of approaching demons, which creates a huge explosion, signaling to the rest of the group that they are safe for now. This is the part of the movie that burnt into my memory so much as a kid, it helped me find the movie way later on. Is this part. Yep, I don't know why.
When they blow themselves up?
Yeah, I don't know why the grenade, it was like the grenade thing she had on her chest.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just stuck out to me. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand why that they both had to go for that.
I wonder if they're in a relationship.
The way that it was done, it was almost like the character, or this part was written as if they had some type of history together, but I don't think it's really hinted at the rest of the movie.
Well, I think that if you look at it with that in mind, like some stuff makes more sense. Like maybe the reason Irene called the cops because she's dating one of them or whatever. She's in a relationship with one of them and sympathizes when she's got a criminal in her house, and she is dating the deputy or whatever. Also, the maybe Cordelia knew Bob not from Bob coming to see her, but from Bob coming to see Irene all the time.
Possibly. Yeah.
So we then cut to like an hour later, and we see that it's only Breaker, Geraldine, and Danny up in the attic, with Danny reading a comic book, which suddenly comes alive with one of the comic characters now having demon eyes. Breaker then informs Geraldine that the key is almost out of blood, pouring the last out on her arm, causing her to get pissed and asked why he did that. He then reveals that she is the last one alive of the 7, which means that she is the chosen one. And the whole reason that he was sent here tonight was to give her this key and make her the next protector of not just this important artifact, but of mankind itself, which is exactly what those stars on his palm mean. It's basically like a timer for this protector, and once his stars aligned in such a way that it formed the same circle that is on the key, it kind of means his time is up and it is now time to pass it on to the next person, with his blood being what fills the key for the next, 80, 100 years or whatever. But right as he goes to do this, a now possessed Danny grabs his arm and demands the key as he quickly rips a chunk out of Breaker's chest and throws him against the wall. This shot of Danny as he morphs into this vicious looking demon with these huge teeth is fucking amazing special effects work. This is a 5 out of 5 for special effects for me.
Yeah, it looks really good. The fucking, tongue is super
God,
creepy,
that's
too.
so awesome. Yeah, the whole fucking jaw and face and tongue is so good.
This is what I mean, too, about, the work that went in and the planning that went into making this all happen. Because this movie is predominantly special effects.
Yeah.
Makeup and special effects make up a majority of this movie.
Yep.
There's almost no scene that doesn't have some type of makeup or special effects. And yeah, I mean, they did a great job with the amount of money and time that they had. Thought it looked fantastic. And I love details from the Crypt comic book.
Yeah, dude, that's so good.
As it's flipping through during the scenes, that's another thing that I feel like they took from the movie Creepshow.
Yeah.
That Creepshow does.
Definitely.
But they did it a little different than Creepshow. They actually did it in the middle of an action scene, which I thought was fucking awesome.
So the Danny demon then bites into Breaker's shoulder, where we then see his long, slimy tongue start digging into that chest wound, causing Breaker to scream out in pain. And the whole time this is happening, we keep cutting back to this Tales from the Crypt comic book laying on the ground, which is showing all of the events that are currently happening. So Breaker ends up throwing the key on the ground, hoping it will distract the demon long enough, which does work, because the Danny demon lets go of Breaker and tries to grab the key, but Geraldine kicks it away from him, prompting him to throw her across the room into the wall. But right as the demon turns around looking for the artifact, Geraldine jumps up, grabs a raptor above, and swings forward, kicking this demon through a window, which has the blood barrier thing on it, and this causes the Danny demon to instantly explode. Geraldine then runs over to Breaker, who is very badly injured, who uses his last bit of life to fill the key with his blood in order to pass it on to her. And while he is doing this, she starts freaking out and telling him that she's not the right kind of person for this job, but Breaker interrupts her and says, "The collector tried to seduce you and you turned it down. You are exactly the right person for this job." He then demands her hand, and after a brief hesitation, she gives in, where we then see him pass it on just like his captain did almost 80 years ago with him. The key then instantly lights up bright red as Geraldine begins to see the visions of the demon at the crucifixion and all that stuff. Once the bright red light disappears, she pulls her hand back, looking at her palm, revealing that she now has the stars on her hand just like he did years ago. He then explains that when the stars complete the circle on her hand, she will do what he just did and for her to watch her back. And as soon as he finishes his sentence, he dies, leaving her very distraught. Fuck, I love William Sadler, man. He's so good.
He is good. You hate to see him die.
Yeah. So apparently, once this is passed on to somebody else, it voids the old seals they had on all the windows and doors, causing a bright neon green light to shine through the floorboards of the attic, alerting Geraldine that something bad is about to happen. When suddenly the attic door pops open and the collector comes rising up into the room, and needless to say, he's pretty happy to see Breaker's dead body. Geraldine, realizing that there's nowhere left to run, decides that she's got to fight the collector one-on-one, where we then see her step out from behind some boxes, stripped down to her underwear covered in blood. And just when the main demon reaches out to her, she grabs his hand, which immediately begins burning his skin, revealing that the blood that is on her is the blood from the key. Once the collector realizes it's going to be hard to fight her like this, he takes off running back into the house, forcing her to go and find him. But after walking into the bathroom, he comes up behind her with the shower curtain, grabbing her and throwing her into the tub where he quickly washes off all the blood, with the shower head leaving her mostly defenseless.
I really hope for her sake she doesn't have 90 years of this, because she just went through like half of her blood stash.
Yeah. She then stabs him in the eye with the bottom of the key, giving her just enough time to take a swig of the blood. And this is where he reveals that he cannot be killed with the whole eyeball trick like the rest of the demons, because he's far more powerful and older than the rest of them. He then wraps her in the shower curtain and drags her through the boarding house as he talks about how excited he is for this promotion and the death of all mankind. Once they get to the lobby, he dumps her out on the floor, snatches up the now empty key, and then tells her that he didn't only want the key but also wanted her to join him on the other side. He then pulls her body in close and begins dancing around the lobby while spotlights and music play, telling her that she would be the first demon knight to join the demons willingly. And the whole time this is going on, Geraldine isn't saying a word because remember, she has a mouthful of the magic blood. Once she refuses to answer him, he finally gives up and decides it's time to kill her, as he then pulls out a knife and tells her that he is going to cut out her heart, when she suddenly spits the huge thing of blood right into his face, which immediately starts to melt his skin. He then begins screaming in pain as we see these huge wounds burst open with smoke billowing out of them and chunks of his flesh falling to the floor looking very melted. And as the camera pans up, we see that his head has almost completely split open with his whole lower jaw gone. And right as Geraldine looks in horror at what's left at the collector, he bursts into flames as he then turns into his true form, which is this big-ass dragon demon-looking thing, before suddenly causing the whole boarding house to explode, leaving her completely unscathed lying in the middle of the lobby. He's got a cool death scene too. Very awesome looking.
Yeah. Him turning into the demon, I thought was fucking awesome.
Yeah. The
Like,
melting skin
literally,
too is really
yeah.
good.
Yeah. And then the awesome looking demon followed by the giant explosion. It's just screams like Tales from the Crypt with a
Yep.
slightly bigger budget.
Yeah, definitely. We then cut to the next morning where we see her refill the key with Breaker's blood from the attic, grab her things, and head to the closest bus stop where she boards a bus out of town. And right as she is boarding this bus, we see her bend down and place a tiny drop of blood from the key in the doorway, creating a barricade in case any other collectors want to try and follow her. I feel like she's going to run out of blood pretty fast. She continues to use it like this, though.
Yeah,
Like every vehicle she's in.
has been very, very inefficient with the blood.
Yeah, she doesn't realize, like, this tiny thing has to last you, like, 80 years
Yeah.
on average.
Yeah, she's fucked.
Yeah.
She's going to be like 5 years in.
So the bus then takes off with Geraldine staring out of the window, pondering what is to come. And when the bus stops at the next town, we see a nicely dressed man wearing a big black hat go to step into the doorway when he suddenly stops, looks at the door jamb, and changes his mind, telling the bus driver that he will wait for the next one. Him and Geraldine then share a glance at each other as the bus drives off down the road, and after a few seconds, the man in the black hat starts walking in the same direction while whistling the Tales from the Crypt theme song. Good touch.
Yeah.
The camera then pans over the grassy hill, revealing an old cemetery where we suddenly see a zombie hand burst out of the ground, grabbing a rose and pulling it back under. We then follow the hand all the way down until we reach the Crypt Keeper's crypt, where he says, "Ah, I love scarnations." He then tells us that Geraldine lived happily ever after, and he even got a ghost card from her. I wonder what that looked like. He then says that he has to hurry up and go because tonight is the big screamer. We then cut to him arriving at a big fancy movie premiere where he walks over to a guillotine, lays down, and places his head in it. Then he says he asked for final cut and got it right as the blade chops off his head, which lands in a basket, followed by him saying, "Now that's entertainment. Stupid.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
That is the end of Demon Night.
I loved the Crypt Keeper ending.
Yeah. I actually like the end better than his intro.
Yeah. The intro was good, except the walking part. Man, that was just so odd. Threw me for a loop. I get they wanted to. It was a movie, and they wanted to do it bigger, and they were like, "We've never gotten the puppet to walk," but it just didn't turn out good.
The only thing I think that wasn't good was him walking.
Yeah.
All right, I only got a couple facts. I burned up most of my facts to the episode. So, according to Billy Zane, he based his character, the Collector, on Robin Williams' Genie from Aladdin, but the version from hell.
Yeah, like the evil version of it.
This
makes sense.
It's perfect. Like, this makes so much sense because I came across that before I watched it, and I watched it with that in mind, and he nails it. That's exactly what it is, man.
And it's funny because although it's a cartoon, Robin Williams really kind of takes over that movie with his character and his charisma.
Yep.
And the same thing kind of happened with this movie.
Yep. So the only other fact I got is when Jada Pinkett Smith arrived on set, she surprised everybody by having short blonde hair. Out of nowhere, she cuts all her hair off and dyes it blonde. Initially, they intended to dye it at least a different color, but she demanded that they keep it and make it part of the character.
Wow.
That's such a Jada Pinkett Smith thing.
I noticed that, and this is like just screamed to me like just kind of for her personality even then. She was the only person in the credits that had her own like makeup and hair person.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like they had to credit somebody who just took care of her.
Yep.
Instead of everybody else. Like,
she's definitely a diva, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not want to be on a film set with her at all.
Gross.
All right, so ratings and kill count. We got a total of 10 kills, not including all the demons. We have Sheriff Tupper, who had his face punched through. Cordelia, who got possessed and then shot. Wally had his throat ripped out. Uncle Willie was possessed and decapitated. Roach was torn apart by demons. Irene blew herself up. Bob was blown up with Irene. Danny was possessed and then blown up. Breaker was killed by the Danny demon. And finally, the Collector was melted. Collector was the only demon I counted because he's like the main guy. But yeah,
you gotta count.
Yeah, you gotta count him. All right, so favorite kill in mine is gonna be the Breaker kill because the fucking Danny demon looked awesome. My second is gonna be the Sheriff getting his head punched through because that's just a cool effect. It's based on effect alone. So those are my two.
So I went with Cordelia getting her head blown to pieces with the shotgun.
It's a good one too.
That is all practical effect, and it's really fucking cool, like how they blow up the head. And then my second was the cop getting his head punched through.
Yep, good one.
I thought that was really cool. I thought the fact that the Collector's fucking arm gets stuck in his head was just a great touch.
Yeah.
Because then he has to rip his head off of his body to sling his arm.
He's so aggravated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's like stepping in dog shit and you're trying to scrape it off your shoe. All right, so film rating. There's also a lot of awesome demon deaths in this, but I just didn't count those. I feel like that would make it even harder to try to get a favorite kill locked down.
Yeah, I didn't count anybody who wasn't a main character.
So my rating of this movie is stupid high at a 4.3. It's fun. It's got amazing special effects. I love that old dark blue nighttime color palette. I love the comic book neon bright colors that they use. The soundtrack is great. There's a couple actors in here that I thought did awesome and really made the movie just a whole nother step up. It's a unique story. It's not a story that's done a million times. And of course, it's got the fucking Crypt Keeper. So yeah, 4.3 for me.
So I gave this a 3.9. Overall, this is a super fun movie. You can tell it has a different arc than a normal Tales from the Crypt, but they changed it so much that they were able to make it feel so much like a Tales from the Crypt. I love the colors. It doesn't do the exact same thing that Creepshow does with the colored lighting as far as, like, the colored lighting on set, but they do it a lot with, like, the lightning and enhancing the blood, like, the blood in the doorways and stuff. Definitely has a awesome color palette, that Creepshow fucking comic book color palette. It definitely it has the awesome feel, feels like Tales from the Crypt. The makeup and effects team, the shining star of this movie for me.
Definitely.
And then the actors, I think this is a testament to Tales from the Crypt, like, the cast that they were able to get, they were all amazing. I don't think anybody did, like, necessarily a bad job in this movie. I thought all the actors were great at playing their parts. I do wish that the ending with the whole, like, him being in love and the dance thing at the
I
end.
deducted some points for that too.
Yeah, that was what took it from a 4 movie, a 4.1 down to a 3.9 for me, was just, that was so, like, out of place.
Yeah,
I felt like that just didn't make sense with the rest of the story. I'm not sure what they were doing there. But yeah, that was my only major complaint with the movie.
I feel like it would have made more sense if he would have been, like, still trying to convince her, but because, like, I will be the guy who brought a demon knight over to the other side. Like, the prestige that he would have from accomplishing that, not the being in love with her thing.
Yeah, the being in love with her was really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was just so out of place. Like, there's nothing that even hints at that earlier on in the movie.
He doesn't have a lot of interaction with her either.
And then there's a weird, like, there's, like, the light that comes down on them, the spotlight, and they're, like, doing this dance number with each other, and it was just so out of place. Yeah, that was my only major complaint.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Overall, super fun movie.
I mean, this is a movie from my childhood that I absolutely love, and I'm so glad I have a physical version of it now. And I wanted to give it higher than what I gave it, but I did deduct, like 0.3. I probably would give it like a 4.7 if it wasn't for that ending. I don't like that part of the ending, but I love the, like, spitting the blood in his face and stuff. That's cool, but yeah.
This or Creepshow?
Oh, this. Hands down,
God.
this is for me, this. Yeah.
Creepshow is better.
Yeah.
Creepshow's top notch, man.
For me, Demon Knight. Matter of fact,
I think you may have rated Creepshow higher.
I might have, but I like this movie more.
Yeah.
Like, I would pick watching this over Creepshow 9 out of 10 times.
I've loved that 4K remaster Creepshow.
Oh, it's
that
beautiful.
literally, like, with the colors and the way that it made that movie pop.
Yeah, I want to get this in 4K.
That movie felt different than I have ever watched it before.
Well,
but I think they're both fantastic movies, and they both have that same feel. They're both full of awesome practical effects. And, I think they're some of the best comic style horror movies, two of the best that we have.
yeah, I would like to hear from some fans of Demon Knight and Creepshow. Like, what do the listeners prefer? I'd like to hear that. That's a good head-to-head. So that is our opinion on Demon Knight. Once again, we thank you guys for listening. Please give us a follow or like if you enjoy the show. Check out the website and check out the socials. Tell a friend, a family member, or your horny, drunk old Uncle Willie about the show. And we hope to see you next time.